This is annoying. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, except over here. It stopped working. Let's fix it. First thing we have to do is get this door cover off so that we can get to the door lock actuator, because it's the actuator that is busted. So what we're going to do, instead of just replacing the actuator, we're going to rebuild it. There's a few screws on here. Behind the door cover, there's going to be these cables. There's going to be a little plug in at the bottom that we need to remove. So these cables, we have the white one on the top, so you need to remember that. But remove this white cable here. Comes out, and the green one below it on the bottom. And these power plugs for the door lock and the actuator and the windows. All right, so 2 plugs for the window and the locks, 2 cables that'll come out with the actuator, and our upholstery's out of the way. Okay, these are the 3 bolts holding the actuator in. We're gonna go ahead and pull the bottom 2, leave the top one loose, and then we'll have to get behind the vapor barrier and the window track, which I'll show you in a second. So, okay, that Torx bit for the window actuator bolts is a T30, and then a 10mm is going to loosen our window regulator, or not window regulator, our window track here that we're going to need to do to be able to get that actuator by. With a 10 and a 12, you can almost take the whole vehicle apart, but I'm going to loosen these and then pull this vapor barrier back. Not all the way off. You don't have to pull it all the way off. Just enough to get back here to get your hands on the actuator. So something like that, so you can get back here and see. And this window track is going to come down and make it where you can't get inside the window, or you can't get the actuator out. Also, this is the power for the actuator. When you hit the switch, it sends the power and the signal to unlock it, so, or lock it. So pop that out and pull. I think it should, I haven't done this in a long time, but I think it's just these 2 bolts here. These 2 will loosen that window track enough that we can move it out of the way to be able to get the actuator by. So now we'll pull that final bolt out of the window actuator, and we should be able to shimmy this thing by. Now these 2 cables are going to come with it, like that, and boom, right out. That is the actuator that we're going to fix. Okay, so this actuator we're going to fix. Now, I've done this to, I think, at least the other 2 of the other doors, if not all 3. There's a little electric motor inside that goes bad. You can try to clean it or fix it, or for, I think I paid $10 on Amazon. You can get them on eBay, wherever. You just look up what works for your model. A little bit of like Reddit searching, you'll figure it out, to replace that, to fix it and replace that motor within the actuator, which means we have to take this apart. It's a little cumbersome because everything has to go back in the right place. But for $10, it'll rework it, it'll rebuild it, and it'll work. Now, here's the catch. The first time I did it, this actuator was $246 for this replacement. And this was $10. It made perfect sense. Why not, right? $246 versus $10, and that's to do it yourself. No telling what they would charge to do it. Now, I just checked before doing this, because I bought this a long time ago. I've been riding this out and just kind of avoiding it. These things are like $30 now. So it's probably easier just to buy a new window actuator or a door lock actuator and replace it and move on. But if you are interested to go further, I'll show you how to replace the motor. If not, pull the upholstery off, pull out the regulator like you just saw, 3 bolts, unloosen the window track, remove the vapor barrier, pull it out, replace it, throw the new one in, and rock on. But since I have it, I already purchased it, I'm gonna go ahead and rebuild it. Let's get moving. Okay, I haven't done this in a while, so you're gonna learn it as I relearn it. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cable off. We have the yellow one that actuates this bar here, and which is the green. And remember, the green was on the bottom side in the truck. And then we have to get to this piece to pull this one off. Up. There we go. The gray one goes on that top inner side. Put those over here to the side, and let us start taking this thing apart. Yeah, I have rebuilt this one. Actually, I've already rebuilt it and the motor went bad. You see where I had to break into the foam already once. It's always not a bad idea to look and see where everything is already. So there's no child safety lock on this version. If you're doing the back doors, there's more than likely a child safety lock, and that needs to be in the correct position. All these pieces need to be in the right spot, otherwise the door won't work. And not will it just not work, but if you happen to close it and it's put together wrong, it almost could lock the door on you and not be able to open it. So work slowly and see what make sure you are paying attention to what pieces you're removing and where they came from. And again, I haven't done this in a while, so I'm relearning the items that I did last time. So I'm just going to start by pulling all of the screws. I was trying to only do the minimal amount, but let's just go ahead and do it. So this one here. Then all of these little plastic clips that you want to be careful with, right? Because plastic clips are easy to break. So just start by loosening each of them a little bit and just work your way around. And I'm kind of holding upward pressure so that they don't pop back into place as I continue around the actuator and loosening these pieces. This corner bridge, that can come all the way off like that, and here, and one on the back side. Again, reapply that little bit of pressure so that it's constantly pulling apart, and then continue to relieve each of those little plastic clips. And you see I'm just putting the screwdriver flathead, small flathead, under it and just prying it sideways so that I'm trying not to break it, because broken plastic pieces are always fun. And the older they are, the easier they are, the more brittle they are, right? If you've delved this far in, you are probably aware of that. And so what I want to do is I want to open it up, but not have everything fall out of place first. So I want to open it up so I can get a look of where everything is. So I don't want to be surprised when the whole unit pops open all at once. I want to do it slow. But there you go. So already this piece, important. That little nylon slider needs to be in this groove right here. It came out kind of how I didn't want it to, without getting a full view of everything ahead of time, but That's okay, that's where we stand right now. There's the motor we need. Pops out. And this fitting goes on a flat shaft on the motor, which might be too small to see that flat portion. I'm not sure, but it just slides over. Obviously there's a key and a hole where it fits. So we'll put this motor aside. We'll open up this other one here, which these are the numbers on it for what they're worth, for what that's worth. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to link it, but like I said, these actuators are quite a bit cheaper now, so this might be a fruitless project when you're just trying to get your door to work again. So these are the connector pins right here, and we'll clean them a little bit. I'm just going to scratch them and then we'll put some acetone on them. And then they touch in here on the motor, those little connectors. Just a little Q-tip with some acetone in case there's grease or anything on it. I'm just gonna, we scratched those connections a little bit. Now we're just going to clean them with some acetone. See, there's dirt on them. There's grease in here, and you know, potentially that grease could dirty those connections, I suppose. I'm inventing all this as I go along, right? All I know is I can make the door lock work again. Whether it's the right way or not. Clips in. And now it can actuate. See it moving it. I don't want to move anything too much because it's all still mostly in the correct position. We got to make sure as we put it back together, this little nylon slider again goes in there. And while I'm at it, can I pull? Oh yeah, that's right. Now I remember, it's got to clear here and around this post, so this piece doesn't pull out this way. It rotates up. So you clear it and click it off right there. See where I was talking about this right here, and this had to come up a little bit, and there's this piece of metal that fits in that slot down there as well, so it keeps you from pulling it that way. So without moving as much, I'm going to reseat this piece in there. The spring is in the right spot. This piece, I'm going to slot it in the correct spot. And you're just going to have to trust me. I don't know that there's a good way to film this, but as I just want to make sure it's in there, and it is. So I was trying to be lazy and not take this off, but needed to. So it looks as though it's in the right spot. That's there. We're closed back up. We have the same mobility we had earlier. Now, the actual lock keeper piece, we're going to have to get it over here and behind that. Right there. Seat the plastic spots. All right. Put the screws back in. Just really, I'm going to test this. I don't want to pop in the port in the meantime. There, and this one here. So we're back together. So everything appears to be back the way it was. Let's put it back in and hope for the best. So, see that mistake? The sleeve, the casing holder, getting moving too fast. I did not put it back in its keeper. Right there. So I left it out, got moving too fast, not paying attention, instead of putting it in its keeper so that the sheath isn't moving, but the cable can be actuated. Right? All right. And again, put that plastic back on. Like that. The lower cable here and here, same thing, it's keeper. Let's go put it back in the truck, see if it works. As I was editing through this, I just wanted to add that I didn't point out when I put everything back together, that behind the door lock actuator, there's a rod that runs down from the exterior handle. It's connected to the exterior handle, and it slips into a little flat lever on the backside with a hole on top. So if you miss that step and don't put that back in, your exterior handle won't work, the interior handle won't work. Ask me how I know. So anyway, just wanted to add that step since I forgot to put it in during the original filming. All right, so that's done. All in all, it's like a 20-minute job. Once you've done it, it's not that hard. But I will say, since the prices have come down, it doesn't make much sense. It's good to know how to do that sort of thing. I enjoy being able to take something apart and know that eventually I'll get it back together. It might take a few tries, but we can get it back together. And when the price was $240 some odd, I think it's like $246 just for the actuator itself. It made no sense. Buy the $10 part, fix it, rebuild it, and move on. But now that they're $30, it's literally a 6-minute job to pull the upholstery off, vapor barrier, window track, and the door lock actuator off in no time. Replace it with a new one for $30 and roll on. No telling what the factory charge is. But anyway, yeah, go build.